To start the effects, tap the play icon. Effects will run for a specific duration before transitioning to the next effect. Tap pause to freeze the playlist on the current effect. The effects will continue to play, however, the effect player will not transition to the next effect until you tell it. You can also start an effect by tapping on its name or icon. Tap on the swatches to edit the default colors for this effect. Color changes happen immediately, so you can quickly find the best colors. Tap Next to manually transition to the next effect. With the Shuffle option enabled, the app will select an effect at random. Tap here to set a global color palette that will apply to all effects. Each effect uses a certain number of colors, so the color palette will only apply where possible. Most newer bonus effects are configured to use all colors in the palette. Tap again to clear the palette. The SceneMaker is a beat-synced effect controller. That means most effects will sync to the beat of a tempo that you select. Let's start by playing a simple effect like Strobe Cycle. On each beat, this effect cycles through each panel on a Nanoleaf controller, or through groups of lights when using Hue Entertainment. I've paused the controller so that the effect doesn't change on us. If you'd like to completely disable the auto change feature, that option is available in Settings. Open the Controls panel to find your current tempo in beats per minute. Currently, we're at 120 beats per minute. The easiest and best way to set the tempo is by tapping along with your music. Tap the beat 4 times or more to set a precise tempo. The more taps you make, the more accurate the tempo will be. If you'd prefer the app to manage the tempo for you, tap here to enable auto tempo mode. The app will approximate the tempo based on what it hears through the microphone. If you tap or hold down the arrows, you can directly adjust playback tempo. Or you can tap the 2x or half x buttons to quickly make the effects go double time or half time. Some effects will perform at the same speed regardless of tempo. Use this slider to adjust master brightness. Tap the blackout button to instantly stop the effects and turn off the lights. Tap here to view and select your current playlists or to create a new one. Editing playlists is easy. To start, tap the pencil icon to enter edit mode. In edit mode, you can add, remove, and reorder the effects on your playlist. Tap here to view all the available effects that you can add to the playlist. The first section are universal effects, which work on every type of lighting hardware that the app supports. These offer the best compatibility when mixing hardware. The second section are bonus effects. These are more complex effects that are designed to work on certain hardware, mostly Hue Entertainment and Nanoleaf. There's also a section for custom effects, which are effects that you can create using our advanced editor. Let's add a few effects to our playlist. Toggle this switch to edit effect beat counts. By default, each effect will run for 32 beats, which is 8 measures at 4/4 time. You can adjust this value here if you'd like to create more complex playlists. You can also edit the default duration in settings. Tap here to edit your playlist options, including icons, loop settings, and more. Once you're done editing, tap the check mark to exit edit mode. Command items are simple commands that can be added to your playlist, just like effects, and they'll execute once they're encountered during playback. There are commands for changing brightness and tempo, changing color palettes, and navigating to other playlists. The iPad version also has a command item for changing sheets. I've already gone ahead and created a basic playlist with these commands, so let's set them up and we'll run the playlist to see what happens. First, let's take a look at the tempo command. At the top, you'll see a few mode options. The first is set mode, which simply sets the tempo to whatever you've configured immediately and without delay. Next is target mode, which will smoothly set the tempo over a configured duration. Normally, durations in the app are defined in beats, but since we're actively changing the tempo here, the calculations can do some weird things, so these are defined in seconds. Next is triangle mode, which creates a looping triangle waveform. That is to say, the tempo will increase linearly until it hits a max limit, then decrease linearly until it hits the minimum, and repeat. There's also a sawtooth mode, which is similar, but goes in one direction and instantly drops to the minimum when it hits the maximum. These are all both reversible, by the way, if you change the initial direction button. And then there's also the sine wave mode, which loops the tempo in a sine wave formation. So let's set the mode to target, and target BPM will be 120 over 4 seconds. Brightness commands are similar, but here we use beats for the duration. Let's set a brightness sine wave that goes from 0 to 100% over a period of 8 beats. Now let's open the palette setting. This one's pretty easy. Just select the palette you want changed to. You can also set to disable the palette here. Let's set a simple red cyan palette. Let's also open the playlist setting. This one's easy too. Just tap on the playlist you want the app to go to. Now let's run it and see what happens. Now before we begin, let's open the controls panel. We'll double the tempo so that the tempo automator has somewhere to go to, and we'll also be able to see the brightness and tempo if the commands take effect. So let's start the playlist. You'll see that the lights are moving pretty quick at 240 BPM. Soon the tempo automator is going to take effect. There it is, and the tempo drops to 120 and the lights get slower. Now soon the brightness automator is going to kick in. There it is. And we have the fireworks effect with the brightness moving in a sine wave formation. Now soon the set palette effect command item is going to take effect. There it is. And now the fireworks effect is in red and cyan. Now soon we're going to go to the lots of effect playlist transition. There it is. And now we're on a new playlist. The brightness automator is still going because we haven't told it to stop yet. If we want to do that, we can just tap on it, and now it stops wherever it last was, and we're on a new playlist. Now, if you'd like to use the tempo and brightness automators but don't want to add them to a playlist, you can access them manually through this button. These will allow you to run impromptu automators without having to change your playlists. Due to slight differences in processing times between hardware, you may find that your lights don't match up with the tempo. To solve this, the app includes a fine-tuning setting that you can use to calibrate your lights. To use it, go to Settings, then scroll to the Fine-Tuning setting, and tap the Test button to start the metronome and effects. Tap to increase or decrease the speed of the lights to match the tempo. If you'd like to learn more about the app, check out the links in the description below. Light DJ was built off of user suggestions, so if you have any feedback, drop a comment, or if you have any technical questions, you can email me at this address. Thanks for watching.